All right, the Bexar County Sheriff's Office, the mission of the mental health unit is dedicated to providing the citizens of Bexar County and other counties, because we do help out other counties, and with a safe and secure environment, and will also strive to provide service to the patients with a professional attitude and demeanor. So we do help out other counties. We have other deputies call us exactly, what do we do in this situation? Of course, yeah, we do an emergency detention. This is what you do. This is what's needed. You have to call facilities and see if actually they have availability and so forth. So our mission, again, is to make sure we safeguard everyone in Bexar County and other counties, and whoever needs help. That's what we do for Bexar County, the Sheriff's Office. Now, the purpose of the mental health deputies to exhibit appropriate techniques and skills for people in crisis. Going out to a location, any location, we actually try our best to find out exactly what's going on within the facility, by neighbors, family members, and so forth. We go out there and we actually try to assess the situation. To manage volatile situations that involve people who are potentially seriously mentally ill, in crisis, suicidal, emotionally, mentally, or behaviorally impaired. Now that's pretty much our purpose of our mental health deputies. Duties and responsibilities. Now, our unit's fairly small. I think it's fairly small, but we have so many things that we need to do. I mean, so many things. We execute mental health warrants, and in a little bit I'm going to tell you exactly how we execute mental health warrants. We execute mental health documents, services, and so forth to keep people or consumers, patients or consumers within the facilities. We transport patients for psychiatric evaluation, alcohol dependency, chemical dependency, suicidal ideations, homicidal ideations, depression, decompensation due to lack of medication, also for court hearings, extraditions to mental health facilities. We extradite people to and from other cities, other counties, juvenile treatment centers, adolescent treatment centers, assisted living centers, and group homes. Bexar County started the Deputy Mobile Outreach Team in 2002, a specialized unit of 4 mental health peace officers. Now, this was a grant that was given to the Sheriff's Department. It was 4 deputies that were assigned to the mental health unit. Because of the 10 and the 4, altogether we came out to be 14. A total of 14 deputies supervised by 1 sergeant assigned to the mental health warrants. 14. Now, some people say, well, yeah, y'all have a lot, but I still think we still need more. And the main reason is we have 14 individuals. Break it down, 7 guys on day shift, 7 guys on night shift. That's 7. 7 for days, 7 for nights. And we take care of all of Bexar County. All of Bexar County. It's amazing. And Bexar County is huge. You know, it's amazing. But we're trying our best. It's difficult. And we're trying to go out there and actually give out the information because we want, that's our goal, I guess this goal this year and the year before and the year before that, is to actually get the information out there. Let people know this is what you need to do. This is who you need to call and so forth. We'll be out there. We'll go out there. You just got to call us. And little by little, the information is ciphering out, little by little, with little things like this, like little presentations like this, where y'all can give the information, or if not, call us if needed. Okay, a little bit about the Deputy Mobile Outreach Team. The Deputy Mobile Outreach Team, DMOT, is a collaboration between the Bexar County Sheriff's Office and the Center for Healthcare Services. So we work with the Center for Healthcare Services. Okay, a team of mental health deputies paired with a mental health assessor who, working together, make the community service calls for citizens of Bexar County who are in a mental health crisis and meet the criteria for an emergency detention. Again, Deputy Mobile Outreach Team mental health deputies are specifically trained in de-escalation for a crisis situation. We're not hostage negotiators or anything like that. We're not hostage negotiators. But if someone is in deep crisis, and we can see that in crisis, we have techniques that we use, that we train with and so forth to de-escalate individuals. The best thing for me is rapport. I try to establish rapport. If I get just even their name, I can use your name and like, Monica, I'm here to help you, Monica. That's what it's for. That's what I'm here for. Okay, the Bexar County Jail Diversion Program was implemented. It was implemented in 2002. Stakeholders meeting was convened in Bexar County with a representation from 22 different entities from city and county. They knew something was going on, something was wrong. Like I said, the video that I put up before, society was angry. They called NAMI, they called legislators. They wanted something done. Like I said, at that time, they implemented, that we, all as law enforcement officers, get the CIT training that's needed. everyone. Now, the result of the collaboration was the development of a comprehensive jail diversion program model. And we're going to go real brief on that. Bexar County provides jail diversion for people with a mental illness. What we have is we have an intervention phase. Bexar County Jail Diversion Program identified and operationalized 46 intervention points in the current arrest detention process. Now, the 46 intervention points were then divided into 3 phases, and I've condensed them really small so you can actually see what the phases are. Real brief. Phase 1 focuses on diverting the mentally ill from the legal system. Now, what we have is a lot of officers who are going out there, they get out to the same call, and all of a sudden there's someone there that's not supposed to be there. They're like, okay, come on, and you can walk them to another street or somewhere else, and all of a sudden he would come back. And then you get that call, the dispatch would call you back, okay, you have to go back to that location. Well, I got to a point where the officers, you know what, I'm just going to arrest him for criminal trespassing. And he's out of my shoes. But the officers weren't looking at the situation that was there. Maybe this person just needs medication. Maybe this person needs an emergency detention that's needed so he can actually see a psychiatrist, get the help that's needed. And that's what is being done now. Before they're arrested or booked into the Bexar County Adult Detention, before diverting the mentally ill from the legal system, before they're arrested and booked into the Bexar County Adult Detention Center, accomplished by identifying and screening for mental illnesses, making recommendations to the magistrate and judges, providing treatment options. Phase 1 in detail, crisis hotline used to route calls for assistance. Hotline services as coordinator for all crisis and jail diversion services, all calls recorded and tracked for follow-up. Majority of calls are routed to the Deputy Mobile Outreach Team. DMOT consists of a mental health professional, and that's the assessor that goes out with us. Phase 2 focuses on identifying people with a mental illness who are already in the CJIS system. Recommends an alternate disposition, such as a mental health bond or release to a treatment facility. Phase 2 in detail. The entire jail population is screened daily. We have a classification. In the jail system, in our detention center, and they're pretty good officers. They actually look for those that are mentally ill and so forth, and they classify them. And then also our nurses are good, and they look for such things also. The entire jail population is screened daily against a statewide database to determine which persons have accessed the mental health system in the past. Establish a step-down program that allowing judges a sentencing option that ensures that individuals go directly into the treatment programs. Involuntary outpatient commitment program is also established. Phase 3 focuses on providing appropriate services upon release from jail or prison. Focuses on preventing recidivism and arrests. Program provided cognitive additive training, CAT. This program allows consumers to resume daily activities in a community setting. The Genesis Special Needs Offender Program was also created, which is a program that provides intensive care or intensive case management, psychiatric services, and rehabilitation training. All right, now because of this jail diversion program that was implemented, we won the 2006 Achievement Award. We were the 2000 Achievement Award winners. The American Psychiatric Association honored 4 outstanding mental health programs. The Bexar County Jail Diversion Program of the Center for Healthcare Services in San Antonio, Texas has won the Gold Achievement Award in the category of community-based programs. So an award was won. Now, Bexar County Sheriff's Office mental health deputies determine the need for emergency detentions in the community of Bexar County. We determine the need for an emergency detention for hospital patients that need to be held so that medical staff may apply for appropriate OPC paperwork, order of protective custody paperwork, because of weekends and holidays. Analysis: individuals with mental illnesses are traditionally not hardened criminals. The public views these individuals as ill, not criminal. The public expects law enforcement personnel to help, not to hurt. And that's what we're doing. We're letting people know that we're there to help them. Now, again, I mentioned the state mandated. Texas has mandated that every peace officer must complete a CIT course or must have taken the 40-hour mental health peace officer certification. Now, the state has mandated this, that we must do this. The state has mandated that everyone take the CIT course. But unfortunately, the state mandates it without any funding. How do we start it? Through judges, legislators, commissioners' court, mayor, city council, city manager, private hospitals, pharmaceutical companies, grants, private foundations, NAMI, local mental health authorities, and state hospital. But right now the city, and the city has a big part also, that we have this coalition of officers from city and Bexar County and other agencies, and we get together and we do this course. What's amazing is what they do. They actually get funding from, just to hold this course, to get everybody get their 40-hour mental health peace officer certification, get them the training that's needed. They get the money from hospitals, pharmaceutical companies. We go everywhere, NAMI. We're trying to get our officers trained. Even though we haven't get funding from the state, we're doing our best to get this done. And it's tough. Honestly, it's tough. But we're getting it done. That's the thing. Where do we begin? Networking. Must network. That's the thing. We go to conferences, and I'll be honest with you, I try to talk to everyone, let them know who I am, what I'm about, and what we're trying to do. So networking is the best thing, the key to anything. Working with the community. Like coming out here. I'm here, we're trying to work with everyone here, just trying to work with the community, trying to find out what's going on, what's needed, what's the help that's needed out there. Because how can we get the help out there if we don't know? So we have to go out to the community, out there, talk to the consumers, church-based communities and so forth, and get them that help. Meeting with the mental health courts. Now what happens is, actually my sergeant meets with the mental health courts and lets them know our problems, our situations, what's going on, what's the problem that's going on with our mental health deputies. And she meets with the judges and so forth, mental health clerks, and tries to get that done. Knowing her mental health public defender's office and knowing the mental health code. Now that's the big key. We have to know our mental health code, what we can and can't do. We do not want to violate anybody's rights in any way, no matter what. We also let our officers know that, again, when someone's under emergency detention, yes, you don't have to read them their Miranda rights, but they still have constitutional rights. Remember that. We tell all officers that. They still have that. Initiatives. Again, mental health deputies train, teach, mentor various agencies on mental health strategies. Deputies work hand in hand with the courts, Adult Detention Center, CPS, APS, SAPD, you name it. We work with everyone. We're trying to get everyone involved, everyone working together. Top 10 questions. Oh my. All right. Then you get into the hospital of choice. Why? Well, unfortunately, there's a lot of reasons why. Okay. A lot of times, the individual consumer is not funded and the overall situation becomes a money issue. So let's say we have someone who's unfunded. We will take them to the university ER, the crisis, CHCS, and so forth, so they can get the help that's needed. Officer was rude. Why? All right, I know. Okay, being in the mental health unit is by choice. What I'm trying to do is to get everyone, Bexar County Sheriff's Officer CIT certified, to enhance the knowledge of the deputies when it comes to those that are mentally ill. Yes, we had those trigger questions. What's your name? What's your date of birth? And let's go. Come on. And let's go. We're trying to show our officers that, slow it down a little bit. Slow it down. Breathe in. Breathe out. You'll be all right. And we do that. All right, guys, let's do it. Okay, one more time. Went to the Brady Green Hospital and didn't get any help. Why? Okay, well, there are times that the facility may be on diversion due to the fact that they are overpopulated with inpatient treatment. Or the requested medication is not approved by the doctor. I want this medication. I want this medication. Well, unfortunately, they didn't get that one and they're upset. Or if the Brady Green is full, then we have to go to another hospital. Unfortunately, it's not by choice what hospital this individual goes to. But if we can make that possible, great, we'll do it. How come you can't break down the door with a mental health warrant? A mental health warrant is a civil process. Where do I go to apply for a mental health warrant? How to apply for one? Okay, the Justice Center in the basement is where someone would go to apply for a mental health warrant. Now, to apply, one must present the case to a judge, and if he or she deems it, 5, family tells the officer that arrives at the residence of the symptoms that the consumer displays, but nothing's done by the officer because he does not physically see the consumer in a delusional or emotional state. What can I do? Apply for a mental health warrant or inform the officer that you are a credible person. Remember, not all officers have gone through the CIT course. Some know very little, some know a lot. Some officers will call and say, hey, you just did emergency detention, you took that class. Okay, explain to me. Well, you know what, you need to go to that CIT class, but this is what you need to do. Sometimes we network like that as officers. Now, they'll call me. All my deputies have my number. If they have a problem, they come across someone, they all know to call me. My wife hates it. The consumer was released after a few hours after arriving to the medical facility. Why? And like I mentioned before, the doctor has 12 hours to do a psychological exam on the consumer. Once he or she arrives to the facility with a deputy on an emergency detention, if the doctor does not feel that the inpatient treatment is suited, then he might recommend outpatient treatment or even discharge. Now I'm going to tell you what happens with law enforcement, just very briefly. When I see someone who's in crisis, I do an emergency detention. Okay, it's a form it's a state form. It's only one form that we have to look at. Now that state form, what it does is it holds this individual for 48 hours. 48 hours. Now it has to, once I do that emergency detention and I sign and I put the date, the time in the bottom, date and time, within 12 hours at that time, date and time, that person has to be evaluated by a doctor. So by state law, he has to. So there's a lot of power that as law enforcement officers we have. We have to get that done. We want them to get the help and so forth. Okay, it's to the point where we need to. Because our jail system is that's our biggest psychiatric hospital there. At one time it was the biggest psychiatric hospital. It was horrible. I go in there, it's like, oh, I know him. Oh, I know, oh my. And at the time when I was working there, Dr. Sparks, wow, he had a lot of work for him. It's amazing. What is the age limit for a child when it comes to emergency detention? Again, our 573.001 states that there is no age limit. And the Mental Health Code does not state an age limit for emergency detention. Can a family member follow the officer during the transport? Yes. We encourage the family members to follow us. And for the Bexar County Sheriff's Office, our mental health unit, if the parent needs to ride with us, I'll call my sergeant and say, hey, look, she has no way getting there. Can she ride with, the consumer, the child? Yes. Okay. Now, when we get to the location of the facility, that parent has to make arrangements to get back where he or she needs to. Unfortunately, we don't take them back and forth. Okay, we're almost getting close. So what are our hours, at least for Bexar County? Now, I'll tell you this, the mental health unit, these are our hours, but our patrolmen are 24 hours. Okay. So if something happens after hours, our patrolmen get the calls. That's why I said at 2 in the morning, I get a phone call. Okay, what's going on? What do you got? And that's what happens. Our hours are from 7 in the morning to 11:45 that we do all the warrants, we do the OPC paperwork, all the courts. We handle all the courts and DMOT calls. Now, anything after that, they call 911. So the crisis line, you can call the crisis line, and they'll send, after that time, they'll send a city officer, or they'll send a deputy, a patrolman, and they'll handle those calls. When you call 911, we're trying to get our dispatchers certified through CIT also, our dispatchers, to know what's going on, to let them know the calls that we have and so forth, what it deals with someone who's a consumer or who's mentally ill. We're trying to get everyone certified. Like I mentioned, we're getting fire department, EMTs, our dispatchers. So when they receive that call for that person who's in crisis, what they'll do is like, okay, you know what, I need a CIT officer from SAPD, if you call city, or I need a mental health unit, if you call Bexar County, if you live outside the city limits. And they know how to do that. So when you call 911, it doesn't hurt to say, I have a mental health issue. This is what I have and so forth. Because if you get a dispatch that's been trained, they're like, okay, you know what, CIT. They know to put CIT or mental health. All right, number one question. It's like top 10, David Letterman. How do you get a hold of DMOT? Well, on the pamphlets, the crisis line, and our 1-800 number. We also have a 1-800 number. Well, again, I'm Deputy Garza, Ross Garza, again with the Sheriff's Office. And if you know anybody that needs those numbers, please share that with them. And that's it. Y'all take care.